check, check, check. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Là quoi? Check, check, 1, 2, 3, check.
नमस्कार. विश्व कोंकणी पुरस्कार समारोह समारंभाक तुमक सर्वांक स्वागत. आजी आमी प्रथम जावन काविकला, पुनर्जीवन, कायकल्प आणि पुनरुत्थान काविकला रिवायवल, रेजुविनेशन अँड रिसर्जन्स म्हणलेले कार्यावळी आत प्रारंभ करचार आसाची. हात जे सूत्रसंचालक जावन आसाची श्रीमती भारती सेवगुरू हानी आनी तशीची आमगेले आयचे कार्यक्रमाचे संपन्मूल व्यक्ती जावन आमगेले मध्येन तो दोग जाण आसाची. तांकां सर्वांक हांव वेदिरी स्वागत करता. तांकां एक येवकार मागता. डॉक्टर हावंजे जनार्दन राव आणि श्रीमती ममता रೈ हांकां हांव वेदीर स्वागत करता. पहिले आमी आमगेले सूत्रसंचालक जावन आसचे श्रीमती भारती सेवगुरू हांगेले एक संक्षिप्त जावन तांगेले परिचय करून घेवया. श्रीमती भारती सेवगुरू हांणी इंग्लिश साहित्यांतू एम.फिल फावो केलेले कोर्नो कोड्यालाचे फुडारपण आनी मानव संपन्मूल विश्वविद्यालय हांगा फाटले उपप्राचार्य जावन आशिल्लींची. तशीची कोड्यालाचे सेंट अलोशियस कॉलेजांत इंग्लिश भास आनी साहित्याचे शिक्षण दिलेले अनुभवी. विश्व कोंकणी केंद्राचे संवहन आनी फुडारपणाचे प्रशिक्षक जावन अनेक अभ्यासू विद्यार्थींक सोंपे केलेले श्रेय हांकां मेळटा. प्रस्तुत हांणी कोड्यालाचे प्रमुख जायराती माध्यम तर्जनी कम्युनिकेशन्स प्रायवेट लिमिटेड हांतू संपादक जावन कॉफी टेबल बुक्स बरोवच्याक निरत आसाची. ओवर टू यू मॅडम.
Thank you for that introduction and a very warm welcome to our viewers. I can see a few students trooping inside the room. Warm welcome to you to this discussion on Kavikala, Revival, Rejuvenation and Resurgence. May I start? I have two distinguished panelists with me, and I'm very proud to welcome them to this gathering. Before introducing them, let me say that it's very rare that an art form that is supposed to be, let's say, not being alive as much as it was earlier. I don't want to call it a dying art form, because that's a sad word to use. But an art form that is not really taken up in all its aspect as it used to be, is being looked into afresh, and that I think gives us a lot of hope. I have with me, as I said, two distinguished panelists. One of them is Dr. Janardhan Rao Havanje, and the other is Madam Mamata Rai. Let me introduce you to them, dear friends. Before introducing Janardhan Rao, let me say, I have lived with an artist for the last maybe 45 years. My husband is an artist by profession and training. I come from an artist family. My father-in-law was one of the first designers and portrait painters of this city. But it is very rare that I have seen artists being interested in the world of academia, reading, studying, answering exams about art, learning the history of art, and going into deeper research about art. I'm not saying they don't exist at all. What I'm saying is, in all these years of my interaction with artists, I have seen very few who are academically inclined. And Janardhan Rao Havanje, one of our panelists here, is one of those rare breeds. I feel very happy to tell you a few more aspects about Janardhan Rao Havanje. Born and brought up in Havanje, a village near Udupi, he comes from an agriculturist family. His father was a well-known Yakshagana actor, scriptwriter, and Yakshagana Bhagavata, who's a singer and does a main role and the direction in the Yakshagana folk art play. He has been a Yaksha guru for more than 200 Yakshagana troops. So you can see that the base for becoming an artist, a sculptor, and a resource person for artists desiring to learn more about art has come from the home itself. He joined an art college, believe me, looking for a job as an art instructor, and then decided there is more in this field than just teaching. Maybe unwilling students who have been forced into the class of art, who have 1 hour art per week, and think of it as some class where you can just relax. There is more to art than just that. Let me look at it. So after doing his Bachelor of Art at Udupi, Karnataka, he went to Gadag to do his Masters, where he passed with a first rank from Karnataka University in his MFA. But not only that, he didn't rest there. He decided that he wanted to go dig deeper into the roots of one particular art form that is prevalent only in the western coast of India. And that is why we have Dr. Janardhan Rao Havanje, who is a PhD in Kavikala mural art. He has been teaching art in colleges and is now an assistant professor at Srinivas College of Architecture in Mangalore. My meeting with Janardhan Rao Havanje was at a project where he compiled together biographies and life histories of artists of this part of Udupi and Mangalore, posthumous life histories of those who had passed away. He says, there are people who don't even know that there were artists like this in Mangalore. I want to study about them. I want to put together a document so that those who are desirous of learning the art of this part know in whose footsteps they have to go. The book was called Modepu, and I met him at that time to give him a life history of my father-in-law, L.K. Shevgur. Currently, he is working on a Coastal Karnataka Senior Artist Documentation Project. I will not read out the names of all the awards and online shows, one-man shows, two-man shows, solo shows, international shows, participation in workshop and social volunteer groups. It will take all the time up till maybe even beyond lunchtime. I am not going to do that. Dear Dr. Janardhan Rao Havanje, a very warm welcome to you to this discussion. From Janardhan Rao Havanje, I come to the second illustrious panelist here, that is Mamata Rai. I wonder if our audience will give me a yes for an answer. I don't think I will get a yes to this question. Do you know of any computer lecturer who has an MSc in physics, who has a postgraduate diploma in computer applications, who has a master's in computer application, and who was HOD in computers, who has given it up to look into the development of the life of handloom weavers in the community? I don't think we will have too many people. Madam Mamata Rai is one of them, formerly a computer lecturer in computer studies applications. She left the teaching profession in 2016 to pursue interests in simple living, gardening, natural farming, sustainable practices, and matters concerned with the environment. Most importantly, she started doing projects close to her heart and founded Kadike Trust in 2018 with B.C. Shetty. I don't know who is more fortunate to be with each other, B.C. Shetty or Mamata Shetty. She founded the trust with him and some other like-minded people with the objective of nurturing sustainable rural livelihood and to document indigenous knowledge. Presently, she functions as the president of Kadike Trust, which is working extensively to revive Udupi handloom saris. And Udupi handloom has a GI tag now, which is a very interesting aspect. She keeps Talipadi Weavers Society Kinnigoli as the base, and she works on all aspects of revival like marketing, branding, designing, introduction of natural dyeing, initiating training programs for young weavers with NEBARD grants. And she liaises with the government too. She collaborates with NGOs like Selco and other trusts. And she's very proud that today the work that they have done, the trust has done, has increased the number of weavers from 8 to 34 at Talapadi Weavers Society, and 42 to 74 in the two districts, coastal districts of Udupi and Dakshina Kannada. The brand Udupi Saris has been built and is well known now throughout the country and abroad too. We look forward to learning more from her because they have decided for a collaboration with the World Konkani Center to introduce Kavikala motifs on Udupi Saris, which is not simple, believe me. Let us hear more of it from her. Welcome to you, ma'am. Yeah. So, Dr. Janardhan Rao, may I ask you the first question? Yeah. Yeah, my question is, there's a lot of art in India. World over, there's a lot of art. In India, there's a lot of variety of art. Why did you take up Kavikala for your PhD specifically? Will you tell us more about it?
Yeah. Actually, when I was a kid, we used to travel to the Kundapur region. So Kundapur is a place, it's in Udupi district. So it has a lot of Konkani communities living there, and they have settlements there. One of the beautiful temple called Venkatramana temple. So I was able to go there in my, I think, ninth standard. So that time, I am more into art. Like all other kids, I used to, draw the pictures in charcoal in another medium as possible, because we are not getting paints at that time. We are coming from a rural background, and it's astonished me at that time. Just only two colors, it creates something very unique. So at that time, we have seen only the pictures of the books in the books, and also in the TV, whatever coming in the TV, only we are looking those things. So this art form, and even closely looking, it has a the carving kind of thing in it. So I astonished by the the design and patterns and two colors. So that I decided, okay, I'll do something, like I'll study this at that time. And then I got opportunity. Then later, when I completed my 12th, I was able to go to art college.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. For the benefit of our viewers, would you, in a minute, tell us about the actually physical procedure of how that art comes to be? It's a mural art, so would you tell us?
So there is two techniques of frescoes being followed. There are more techniques, but one is fresco secco and one is fresco boon. So fresco secco is a wet plaster method, where like Ajanta paintings. That's why Kavi art is very unique. It's done on wet to wet method. So when we apply rough plaster on the wall, and then on top of it, when it gets dry, we apply smooth plaster. When smooth plaster is still wet, they apply red mud, red soil, and mixed with the jaggery and little lime and materials, and they etch. When it is still wet, they have to etch. After it gets dry, like if he is applying today and he can't work tomorrow, so he has to finish whichever area he can finish. He is applying, and he is finishing. That is a method of Kavi art. Only two colors. One is a lime, shell lime, that we have a rich, we have a huge stock over here. And the other thing is laterite soil. That is also, we have minerals, getting from minerals. We have laterite from all over Maharashtra to Kerala. So that red pigment, generally locally called as Huramunji, or the Kemmannu, that is used in this.
Thank you, sir. Mamta ma'am, my next question is to you. I understand that your next project is looking at how to implement these motifs on the Udupi GI tagged saris. Would you tell us, is it easy? Is it difficult? What is the procedure? What is your plan?
First of all, I would like to thank WKC and CEO Gurudat Baliga sir for giving us, or I can say throwing challenge on us to introduce Kavikala motif on Udupi sari. Okay, if I had asked us to do this in 2020, I would have definitely told no to him. But now we are in 2023, and we have few youngsters who are trained by us. So I had a confidence of introducing Kavikala motif in Udupi sari. I thought, okay, because our newly trained weavers, they were given training in different kind of motifs, and they have worked with some design students of various design colleges, and they were ready to take up any challenges. They were trained like that. So when he asked, I thought, okay, we can do this project. But as we started brainstorming with the weavers, I came to understand, realize the difficulties of introducing Kavikala motif. We can see the Kavikala motif, it has a continuous strokes, lines and all. In motif, when weavers, our Udupi weavers weave the motif, it's a hand woven motif. They have to pass the weft yarn using a needle. So it is a discrete in nature. So we have to convert Kavikala motif into graphics form before giving that to weavers. Again, we planned like this. We introduce a Kavikala pattern in border and one a body, pallu portion, and also some motifs on a body. But when we started discussing with weavers, we realized the difficulties. So to weave those motifs, it would have taken nearly one sari to weave. It would take more than 20 days for them to like that. Then we started thinking how to do this, because we didn't want to give up the project. So we started discussing with some people who have worked with the Udupi saris, and luckily we got in touch with Mr. Chandran, who is from Kerala, who was teaching weaving who was an instructor to Udupi sari weavers 20 years ago. And he said, okay, we can do this, but for that we need to introduce jacquard. And again, there were no weavers now who practice jacquard weaving. So Udupi sari weavers, at some societies, they were using jacquard looms to weave motifs and all, complex design. But they have stopped using jacquard 20 years ago. And none of our new weavers, they don't know, they have not seen actually how to use jacquard and all. And again, there is a problem. So we planned a design like this. We conducted a one-day workshop here, and we planned that we will introduce Kavikala motif on border and one big motif on a pallu portion. Then, while discussing, we come to know that it is not possible to weave one single motif on the pallu portion. Only repetitive pattern can be woven, and also we need a punched card. To just weave 1 inch of motif, we need more than 100 punch cards. So if it is bigger the size, more punch card, more jacquard with more holes. There are, for example, for pallu, we need a 120 hole punch jacquard, and if it is more, we need a bigger size or more punch cards. That's the challenge, but we are working on that. We are confident of doing this project.
Yeah, so it's not only an artistic challenge, it's also an economic challenge, a challenge of time, and you need a lot of willpower, you need a lot of consistent effort to tell yourself, let me continue. It's expensive, but let me continue. It's expensive on all fronts, am I right?
Yes, definitely.
Time, money, effort, even the art is not simple. Yes. Because as you said, continuous lines, and you would need vector designs for everything.
Yes, yeah.
Line work, all right. Another question to you, ma'am. You said Udupi saris have the GI tag.
Yes.
Now, what is the responsibility that comes with having a GI tag? What does it mean for the weaving society or the Udupi weavers, looms or the designs or the material? What is it? What does it mean? What is the responsibility that you have?
So GI tag means it has a geographical indication.
Yes.
Only weavers of Udupi and Dakshina Kannada can produce this kind of saris.
Yes.
So this is one way it is advantageous, because they have some support from the various organizations to keep this running. And another way it is also disadvantage.
Why do you call it a disadvantage?
They cannot
People
introduce.
would say, oh, we have the GI tag. I think basmati rice has the GI tag. There are several things like that have GI tag.
Yeah.
They crow about it.
Yeah, both. It is advantages and both disadvantage. Advantage means they can feel proud about their own unique technique. No one else can follow this method and all. Disadvantage means they follow some tedious technique to weave Udupi sari. For example, applying starches on they have to do this on loom sizing, while on the loom itself they have to apply starch on the saris.
I understand for the warp you have to apply the
yes, it is usually in other places they apply starch before weaving, but here on the loom itself they have to apply starch, and it's a long process. It takes lots of time and effort also. So they have to, the one day they will waste almost 1 day per saree.
So it
to
is
do
a
that.
labor of love.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes.
Otherwise, we would have found Udupi sarees in every mall and every marketplace. It's not that easy to do these sarees. Thank you, ma'am, for that. Dr. Havanje, a question to you. Now, when we are talking of Kavikala, do we have records of who were the artists in any information that you have? From where did they come? Why did it start like that? What did they need to know to do this Kavikala?
Okay. Actually, this Kavi art is it started because there is no time. They have to finish the building quickly. One thing is that. And it is a replacement of wooden patterns and wooden designs. So it's like earlier, all the beautiful buildings, houses, or the temples or churches, it would have a intricate carving on the wall panels. So those panels replicated with the Kavi art. And they did certain ideologies that we had a technique of the red oxide flooring, this red mud flooring from ages. So we had that earlier. So what the masons, they thought they will take this onto wall and they can create some designs. So in my idea, that is how they started, and they went on top and they started creating these figures, the epics, the Ramayana, Bharata stories, Bhagavata stories, and they went on. And even interestingly, I found most of the houses in Honnavara, they have local figures like Jaji, fisherwoman, the fisherman.
Yes.
These kind of figures also I found.
Yes.
So I came across around 900, documented around 900 sites from Kasaragod to Maharashtra. So because of that, in another way, 3-4 states it is crossing. None of the states given respect to this art form.
Yes.
It's completely vanished. 1969, last building, what I have documented, that is constructed.
Who did this in 1969?
69, Shesha Bhandar from, he was one of the artists, the other artists from Kumata. So they all did this on the walls of a temple near Siddhapur. So there are other names also I found, because this naming is a one thing artists used to do from earlier days. Even in a sculpture, they used to carve their names.
Yes.
So this thing started long ago. I found one around 400 plus years old mural in Banwasi. It mentions about a name called Manju. He's an artist on that.
But otherwise nobody writes their name, because it's on the pilasters, it's on the doorways, it's on the entrances, and it's on the awning outside I'm not sure of the technical name, the roof, the part that comes out.
Yeah. So generally, yes, but what happens when it is concerned about the epic stories or the images, there they will write. Generally, they write. But most of the painting, what I found is in when we just enter to the Sanctoria Sanctum, on top of the door, main door, there will be the composition of Ganesha or composition of Gajalakshmi, composition of any other gods they make. Yes. There they write, even the particular time so when it is being painted. Yes. That is how I have
yet to come across an artist who does not sign.
Yeah, there are names.
There are some artists I have seen. They're bothered of my husband's students. They say, after I finish this painting, how to sign? So I have seen my husband think, first you learn to paint, then you worry about the sign. But then signing is very important, and you must see the pride on the student's face after the painting is done. And some of them, of course, they want an artistic flourish for the signature. So they sometimes ask the teacher, sir, you write, but you have to write my name, not your name. Yeah, of course, your name. Are you sure you want me to write? Yes, sir, with that flourish I want you to write. Then I will practice in my next painting. So it's
these names are there, and also another thing, it is not written, it is actually etched. That's why it is stayed for a longer duration. So there is a Narayan Rao and Suryaji Gowde from Reddy, Maharashtra. So they did Biligi temples, yes. Biligi group of temples, and Narsiv Nayak from Honnavara, Antu Gaudi, Kulgod Ganesha. and Ramchandra Govinda Mestri, Ganpati Bhatt, Venkatrao Sabhait, Venkumenia. There are a lot of names I found.
This is the PhD scholar speaking. You will keep us till afternoon giving us names.
And also very interestingly in Kundapur, the Manjunath Pai. So he made such compositions that is actually influenced by the Ravi Verma paintings. So that's why
to interrupt you, that sketch there behind you, that is
this is from
Kavikala.
Kumta. This is from Kumta. This is one of the beautiful composition of Saraswati, and it's from Kumta Mahalasnarayani temple. And I precisely say that is a one more very interesting point about the Kavi art is not about a style. It's about a technique. So I repeat, Kavi art is not about a style. It's about technique. So this particular style we see here, it's from Kumta region. So only in Kumta region we can see this style. Honavar region, it's completely different style. If you go to Morjim in Goa, that is different style. If you go to Korgaon, that is different style. If you come to Kundapur, it is different style. In Mangalore, we have in Gokarn Mutt.
Yes.
So there are 4 compositions in inside of the Saraswati Mantap. So one can just have to peek and see the top murals. Only that those things left because no one can touch that murals.
Let me interrupt you here. Dr. Krishnanand Kamath, he calls it Konkani avara Kavikale. He's of the opinion that this Kavikale artists were Konkanis, and those who motivated them, those who were their sponsors, those who paid them, and those who, whether maybe the landlords or the temple trustees of the coastal area, they were the ones who encouraged Kavikale artists. What do you have to say about this?
In certain areas, mainly he thought, because he is the one, we should salute him, he is the one person, he did lot of things to Kavi art. So he is the person, he lonely, he just stood on the saving this art form.
Yes.
So after his book published in 1993, none of the research been done. So only it was me then 2006 I taken that interest and taken it further. Now a lot of students are more interested to do the documentary projects on this and they want to learn it. We do the other projects as well. So what he thought, maybe most of the houses what he has visited, those are Konkani houses. And even the temples, those are Konkani temples. Apart from that, there are a lot of churches, there are a lot of the basadis. There are the mosque, there is the vendor shops, like everywhere, wherever plastering is concerned, this applying of this, the Kavi art into it is, the required, because it's a simple technique, anyone can do. There is no need of artistic skills. No need of artistic skills.
You're telling me no need of artistic.
You can also do, not an issue. Anyone can do.
Yeah, I'm sure if we learn, we can. But still,
yes,
it needs a lot of geometric proportions.
But geometric,
right? Study on geometry.
No. I'll give you that the example. So very simple is you all know when we are in the school we used to have a compass. So compassing technique is one of the simple way that created these all patterns, if I say. So because compassing is one thing anyone can do.
Yeah.
So you have to understand how we have to move, only that thing. So we also used to create some floral designs in a very precise way. Similar techniques been used in all these patterns and mandalas. So then it makes very easy. Even one artist, if he is not coming from artistic backgrounds, he can do that. Only the patterns and mandalas. But when it concerned about the compositions, like these stories, yes, they might have taken the sketches from wooden workers or all these whoever the carpenters.
Yeah, because Krishnanand Kamath says the women, the pictures of the women in this Kavikala in the coast, they dressed like Konkani people.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a kacha or there's a muguti and things like that.
It is because the most of these artworks done by the Goan masons, and they used to call them for the construction of these buildings. So most of these people came from Goa, even the Siddhapur region, Honavar region, Kumta. Then the local masons used to join, and then they learned this art form by them.
Okay. My next question is, why do you think this art form did not go beyond the Western Ghats? Only on the coast?
But there are Sirsi, And if you go to Sagra, there are few.
Sagara also.
Sagra also there. Sagra, one of the basadi I found. So, see, the thing is, I have to finish my thesis, but I took 3-4 years more. That exceeded
Yeah, of course,
my
it
time.
never ends. Even after
Yeah.
you submit it, it never ends.
Now, if I tell it is in one of my recent visit to Calcutta, I had a show there, and I found caviar traces there, and I found some traces in Orcha also in Madhya Pradesh. So I have to rewrite on my own idea on caviar. It's
Yeah,
not just
your
Western.
postdoc can be on that. doc.
Exactly. And another thing, 12th century building at Ganpur. It's a stone built temple. There also we have caveat on the walls.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, sir.
so these ideas, it takes back and history, and again it is, here and there. All over India it is spread.
Yes, thank you. My next question, ma'am, to you. From where do you get your patterns, ma'am, for the saris? In the sense, there's thread work on the saris.
Yes.
And these patterns, are they very traditional patterns? Do you keep changing them? How does it work?
Actually, these are not a traditional pattern. They themselves actually visualize. They get the motivation from the nature. They said.
So,
when we
do you
discuss
have a
about-
set of artists?
No, the artisans themselves develop these designs. They are free to develop. We don't tell them what kind of motif they have to weave and on. Each sari in a warp, it would have different kind of motifs because these are hand-woven motifs. So again, the motifs can be woven in two ways. One is using dobi, which has a pre-designed motifs, and another hand-woven motifs. If they use dobi, for example, in one warp they can weave 34 saris. All the 34 saris will have identical motifs.
Yeah, I
And
was
if they-
interested to see, ma'am, that you had spoken about doing a course on natural dyes
Yes.
from Brampton in Canada.
Cape Town,
Cape
Canada,
Breton.
yeah.
I have been there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I remembered my time and there's an artist village there
Yes,
actually.
okay.
So would you tell us more about this course of yours and
Yeah.
what is the source of your natural dyes for the sari?
Yeah. First of all, let me finish this
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Another method is they use using hand only. They weave the motif. So each sari will have different types of motif, and they just by looking at the nature and flowers and all, they get inspiration and they weave the motif. For example, the sari that I am weaving, in the pallu in the body it has one kind of motif. Pallu it has again 2-3 kind of motifs. So
Okay.
they imagine and themselves do these.
So it's
motifs.
not like there's a manual.
No, there is no
there's
such
no syllabus.
manuals, no such syllabus. Actually, most of these weavers, I would sad to say that when we started our revival work at Talipadi, there were no single weaver who could weave motifs. Then few skilled artisans came back, and then we trained around 20 weavers. During that time, they learned, and some design students start working with them, doing project. During that time, they learned on themselves to design a motif.
So, to our viewers, you can see how these two people, they have chosen the most difficult tasks on which to research. One is Kavikala and one is Udupi saris. These are people with passion. Nothing comes easy. So I feel good sitting with them on either side because I know the amount of work, research work they have put in and the persistence with which they motivate themselves to continue. Ma'am, please
Yeah,
continue.
now come back to my scholarship that I obtained from
Yes,
Cape Town,
yes,
Britain.
yes.
There is one institute called Mami Schoolhouse, which conduct natural dye workshops. So in 2021, they introduced online, during the time of Corona, I can say, they introduced online courses. They called for a scholarship program. And I'm happy to say that I'm the recipient and my trust is the recipient of first scholarship for that
Wonderful,
natural
wonderful.
dye workshop. Along with me, another person also received. So through that, I'm learning natural dye, about natural dyes, how to, in a textile actually.
Okay. How do
So
you source this natural?
Yeah, natural
or
dye-
do you make it yourself?
No, I don't make. Actually, we source from. There are suppliers who can provide natural dyes, and there are some. For example, the flowers like marigold. This can be sourced from temple discards.
Yeah. Yes.
And also, we need a natural dye, indigo, then manjishta.
Indigo, Shanka Pushpa. I
It's not.
understand.
No, most of the.
It's not true.
Yeah, most of the colorful flowers, they are fugitive, means they are not, color fastness is very weak. They only once you can apply, but once you wash them, they will get washed away.
Okay.
So most of the bright color that we see in nature, they don't give, actually they don't give color to fabrics.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we have to, there are few, and we can actually get a nice yellow color from the pomegranate peel, and also there are madder root is there,
All right.
from which we can get pink to red colors. Then indigo, from which we can get yellow color. Then katta, and now it
So
is
all
acacia
this
cottage.
is available, ma'am?
Yeah, these are available, but little, some of these are materials are little expensive. For
Very
example, madder
expensive.
and indigo.
Yes,
It's very
yes.
difficult to find authentic indigo, genuine indigo
Yes, yes.
material. So it costs a lot.
Yeah, that is why the more synthetic the material, the cheaper it is.
Yeah.
And the more soft, the more cottony, the more natural, the more closer to the earth it is more and more expensive.
And it's not only about dyeing, the pre-processing is very important. Before dyeing, how to you treat the fabrics, the process, how you wash the fabrics, and then how to use the mordant, the temperature, pH, all those things count the end result actually.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Back to you, Dr. Havanje. Now, if I may mention about renovation work that takes place in temples or any place that you have seen where there is Kavikala. Some maintenance needs to be done, and they call it renovation, they call it restoration. You would have come across these things. Now, has it really had a positive impact, or has it, what do you think?
Actually, this Jeernoddhara of a temple, because we have a lot of money here. So every 12 years we need to have a Brahma Kalashotsava or other events at the temple. So by that time what happens, everybody wants to make new certain things, you know, they will not respect the things which already there in the building. And in that caveat is, because of that caveat is vanishing. That is the one major issue. Because over a period of the time, it is not been taken care. Because of that, most of these will have, you know, the natural, the problems, and as well as we paint on top of it every year, or a lot of other things we do on top of it. Because Kavi art doesn't need anything on top of it. It just, as it is, we can keep.
What about the weather? Doesn't it, the salt in our weather?
See, the lime is one thing that every year, see, a lot of our old houses here in all over the world, one lime, in a lime material, one is shell lime and another one is stone lime been used. So wherever this lime material been concerned, so it is a living material. And it is there when it is in monsoon season, it gets wet and it is living. It is still there, and nothing will happen to it.
Doesn't it get corroded with the humidity in the...
It will happen, but that is the beauty of it. So the life of a material means we should understand the beauty of it. Earlier, our the older generation, they had you know, enjoyed it, and they have that respect to that art form. Now what happening? We have granites and the materials what we see every day. So we have a lot of materials now. We want to put something, tiles or other things. We are just, because of that, we are removing this art form and we are doing other these works.
Yeah,
on
that
the,
is one thing. Removing is one thing. Maybe we destroy it in the process. But there are some with a good intention of restoration.
Yeah, we have taken,
Does
we are trying hard since 10 years. But one of the recent projects of ours at Ankola, our Sakateni Baneshwar temple.
Yes.
So where there we did a restoration project, as well as in the front area they had a granite. Earlier the people are remembering, some 40 years back they had beautiful kavi art in it. So I discussed with them, they agreed for the work. Then we removed all the granites and we created with the old process, old method of kavi art. We created 1, 2, 3 more projects are happening in Goa now.
Because I remember one situation, I'm not sure which temple. We had visited that, and my husband said, "Ayo, they are restoring. They should have kept it as it is. Why have they done it?" Restoration. Restoration itself is a very in-depth art. You have to know what you are doing. You have to know why it has happened. You have to study it. You just can't ask somebody to go and restore
materials. They should understand the materials, how it works, and what are the materials we are putting on top of it. That is also concerns. So we can't go back like Sirsi temple. Sirsi temple is a place. Sirsi Marikappa temple is a place where 1 inch of the temple you will find that kavi art we don't have. Like Everywhere it is done, everywhere. And what they are doing, they have a lot of money. So every year they are paid. 2 years they are
They might
painting
be
on top
very
of it.
surprised to hear you say that. Okay.
Every 2 years they are painting on top of it. And what happens with these chemical paints, that one thing is removing of this is little difficult when the conservation things are concerned. And again, caviar does not need any paints on top of it. Maybe lime needs a top coat, but kavi doesn't need, because we have a floor, red oxide floor.
Yeah.
What if we paint that? So after 2-3 years it will peel off. That's what happens, because lime is a material, it is reacted with the
So
the
that red
oxygen.
is natural material of latter. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, mud.
That kavi is a natural
Yeah,
material.
red mud.
Red
But
mud.
only thing is, I found other colors also in caviar. That is, they used black pigment, they used blue also, they used other colors as well. So, but one thing is, this flooring thing we are not painting, we are keeping as it is. Similar way, we can keep red paint as it is, red color,
Yes.
color as it is.
Thank
Yeah.
you for that. Ma'am, one final question to you. What is your hope for Udupi Handloom Sarees and Kadike Trust, ma'am? We understand your efforts, we understand your passion and the difficulties that you are encountering, and we know that you intend to proceed with this in the face of all difficulties. Tell us about what you foresee and what is your hope for it.
Actually, I can say there is a hope for the revival, because many youngsters, I can even educated youngsters have came back into weaving. So there is a hope for the continuation of these skills and knowledge of Udupi Saree weaving. And Kadike Trust, it's not only into Udupi Saree. So we'll be work on more some sustainable livelihood practices, because that is close to our heart. And also we are planning to document some indigenous knowledges also. So we'll work on that also. We'll work on more some environment related projects also in future.
Of course. And to you, sir, how do you plan to get youngsters interested in this in the face of modernization that is happening?
Yeah, now we are doing, we are teaching this art form to, the few artists, and we are creating a team of artists. And also we are doing workshops in art colleges as well as government schools. We already started in few places. And recent project of ours is done at airport, Mangalore airport.
Yes.
So that is actually we using new medium, because it takes lot of effort. With the lime plaster, we converted that into little synthetic medium, because now what happening is we can't, we are making original authentic process also, but it time consuming, and where the place is concerned, they are not allowing these materials into the airport. They are concerned about the passengers as well. So we gave the other material as well, and we are combining together.
I think that's a wonderful initiative.
Yeah.
From the ancient temples or mosques or the Jain churches and Jain basadis to an airport. I think this is the way forward. We may not be able to produce the actual authentic red mud, but we're doing it in its form and in its essence as much as possible. So it's wonderful to hear
Just
that
only 10% synthetic, not all 90% the authentic material. Lime and mud only we are using, but the other areas like we need that back support and other areas, because we
for the
can't go for a
pilasters,
plaster.
yes,
Yeah, that we are using. Yes. Yeah.
So thank you for this. I have to say that time is never enough to talk to people who are working with passion, not working because it's a 9-to-5 job. One is an artist, an academician, and one is a computer researcher, as I said, who is now researching into how to make life better for Udupi handloom weavers. I use this opportunity to say thank you very much to Dr. Havanje and Mamata Rai for being with us and letting us know a little bit about what we as human beings can do to add to the intangible heritage around us, because this is art and this is also art. And in different ways we can contribute. Those of us who are here, wish you all the best to both of you. Please take Kavikala and Udupi handloom not only to other parts of India, to the world as well. We wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
इतली वेळु काविकला पुनर्जीवन कायकल्प पुनरुत्थान काविकला रिवाइवल रेज्युविनेशन रिसर्जन्स ह्या विशयारी माहिती दिलेले डॉक्टर जनार्दन राव एच, श्रीमती ममता रೈ आणि तांगेले ह्या कार्यावळी आमगेलो टो विंडून हाडलेले श्रीमती भारती शेवगुरू हांकां हांव धन्यवाद सांगता. तशीची आमगेले विश्व कोंकणी केंद्राचे आणि कोंकणी भाषा मंडलाचे वायस प्रेसिडेंट जावन आसचे श्रीमती डॉक्टर किरण बुडकुळे हांकां हांव वेदीर आपोवन तांकां एक यादस्तीक दिवका म्हूण निमगून घेता. अशीची हे कार्यावळी आमी मुखार सुया. हांव सुचित्रा यश शेणै तुमकां सर्वांक वापस स्वागत करता आसा. आतां आमगेल्या मुखावयले कार्यावळी कोंकणी नाटक, परंपरा, प्रयोग आनी नव परिवर्तन, कोंकणी ड्रामा, ट्रेडिशन, एक्सपेरिमेंट अँड इनोवेशन ह्या विशयारी आमकां माहिती दिवच्याक आज आमगेले मध्य आसाची ईशा नादकर्णी, ग्लेनिस मेडोन्सा डिसोजा, दत्तगुरू जोशी, स्वेटलाना फर्नांडीस, सुभाष कमलकर आणि तांगेले सूत्रसंचालक जावन डॉक्टर किरण बुडकुळे हांणी आसाची. तांकां सर्वांक हांव वेदीर आपयता.